What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and we are proudly sponsored by our regulars for the warm-up. Our main channel sponsor, that is Action Coach Sheffield. If you're a growing business and want support to continue that growth, they are the people to speak to. They are fantastic at what they do, and they really help growing businesses like myself. So thank you to John and the team for his support. Action Coach Sheffield, cannot go wrong. We're also sponsored by Triple Point Brewery, so thank you to those also. That is our pre-match venue this season. Get yourselves down to Triple Point before any home game for a pint with myself and the Ramblers, and that what has come to be known as the best part of the part of game day, unfortunately, recently. We're a bit later tonight, and we're a bit late. Apologies for keeping people out of bed and things like that, because it's a late one for me, this, but yeah, I've been fortunate enough tonight to be invited back onto into Radio Sheffield by Adam Oxley to do a Blades Heaven special. We did one about halfway through the season for those of you that were around then, and we talked about the current state of the season and how we were feeling. And to be honest, it looked nailed on from then at that point. So it's been a little bit, it's not really a season review. It's cathartic, I suppose, a little bit like we like to do here. So what do we think? What are we thinking about the weekend? We're not here for long tonight. Don't worry. We're not going to keep anybody longer than necessary. But we've still got 2 Premier League games to go. We've still got to get through the next 2 games. So I want to know from the comments what you're feeling about this weekend, because it's a damp squib, essentially. There's nothing on the games other than trying to get a bit of momentum. But are we trying to get a bit of momentum for a group that largely won't be together? So does it really count if it's not going to be towards this group? The bounce that we get from maybe 2 wins might bring us, as unlikely as that seems. Or do we go for giving experience to younger kids? Now, there's a balance to this, because if we bring in, Brooks and Blaster, who've been in the team, obviously Blaster will play undoubtedly. But if we bring in a Sam Curtis, maybe a Will Asula instead of Archer, if we still get hammered 5 or 6-0, which could happen because it's happened before this season, is that doing him more harm than good? So I get that argument, but at this stage, I don't feel like it is. So I'm going to go early tonight. I'm going to go off-piste a little bit and go early and give you my team. And we may have to come back to this for those that aren't on at the beginning of the stream. But this is my team, and I want to know what you think about it. Remember, we've got no Anel and we've got no Holgate. Anel, because he was suspended after being stupidly sent off in the last game against Forest. Second yellow, thankfully, so he only gets a 1-game ban. So we will get to give him a farewell performance at Bramall Lane against Tottenham, what I think will be a farewell performance. And Mason Holgate is technically an Everton player still, obviously on loan from them for the rest of the season. So he can't play against his parent club. So he's technically only got 1 more game left for us. So no Holgate, no Anel. This is my team. What do we think? It's not great, don't get me wrong, but in terms of the options that we've got, I think it's the best we can put out. It highlights how weak we are in defence in terms of overall depth. Wes keeps his place through necessity. I still think, obviously, he won't be here next season. I don't know many people that are still thinking it's a Sheffield United decision. I think it's been a mutual decision at this stage that Wes will be moving on. Excuse me. So into the defence then, because of our limited options, surely, if we're going to stick with a 3 at the back, he has to pull the trigger now on Sam Curtis. Some people are calling for Vinny to go in the back line. Why? Why would we put Vinny Souza in defence, a position he hasn't played for us, apart from a very small parcel of time where against Man United, where he looked, even more deer in the headlights than he does in his traditional position of centre midfield. Vinny Souza would not play another minute for Sheffield United for me, and I don't see any harm in a lad like Sam Curtis, who's done great for the under-21s when he's come in, by the way. Sam Curtis coming in and making his debut for Sheffield United away at Goodison Park. Right centre-back. See how he gets on. I thought Trusty looked okay in the middle. Not great by any means, but in terms of recent performances, it was one of his okay performances in the middle rather than out on the left. And captain Jackie Longthrow will be left centre-back. I think that's probably the only one that we're all quite comfortable with at this stage in terms of defence. And if you're still classing them as defence, I think Ozzy is the best of our few options at left wing back, if I'm honest. Best of a bad bunch, unfortunately. That's nothing against Ozzy, and it sounds a lot more disrespectful than it's intended to do. But Ozzy was not getting in our side in the Championship, and here he is starting most Premier League games at the moment, which shows what dire straits our club is in at the moment. Jayden Bogle will start at right wing back, barring any unforeseen circumstances such as injuries that we're not yet aware of. But Jayden Bogle, who's been playing very well going forward in recent times, it has to be said. I still question and worry about him defensively, if I'm honest. But Bogle gets in the team. Obviously, I'm keeping Andre Brooks in the side just to try and stick with a bit of consistency and getting more Premier League minutes. I don't think he's been great the last few games, to be honest. And I've been a proponent of including him, and I'm keeping him in the team here. And maybe if a Tom Davis was fit, he'd come in here. But Andre Brooks still makes the side for me, and I still think he'll be some player for Sheffield United in the future. It's a very high level to expect consistent performances for such a young lad. You've got to be a special talent, like the man next to him, Ollie Arblaster, already being a captain for Sheffield United. But certainly, if we can hold on to him, and this, people scoffed and didn't want me talking about it and didn't want me even saying it in that breath that we could lose him. But as every week goes by, it seems to gather more admirers. He's a special, special talent, and thankfully, he's a Sheffield United talent, and he's tied down to us. That doesn't mean he won't go, but it certainly means it's harder to get him out of Sheffield United, particularly with him being a fan as well. Ollie Arblaster, if him and Hamer, and I said this tonight, and I'm not going to spoil anything that I've said on Blades Evan, because we'll probably do a ramble about that after it's been out. But the one thing I did say tonight on Blades Evan was that if we can keep Blaster and Hamer, it gives us half a chance next season. Because in the Championship, those two, Gus Hamer, superb player, by the way, possibly our best player in this side now. Maybe so. Up front, I've gone Cam Archer and Brereton Diaz. Brereton Diaz seems to form a decent partnership with whoever he plays with at the moment. We've sort of praised McBurney in the past for doing a similar thing, but he seems to look dangerous every game, doesn't he, Brereton Diaz? He's run out of steam a little bit, but he's still doing the business. So in terms of output, he's been the boy, hasn't he, second half of the season for us since he signed, since Wilder brought him in. Cam Archer hasn't really done the business, was taking 1-2 when he touches last weekend. Disappointing overall, it has to be said, but I still believe there's a real player in Cameron Archer. And hopefully he can get himself on score sheet this weekend. He's another one, obviously. Both of those strikers will not be with us next season, which is a huge shame in and of itself. But I want to know what you guys think. And we'll only be here till you stop talking to me. So if you want us gone, then that's fine. Because it's getting to that point, isn't it, now, where we're just ticking off the games. And thankfully, there's only 2 more left. But we'll start to move into plans soon, won't we, in terms of the plans for the summer. And that's where we reset. That's where we start the rebuild, if you like. And we'll talk about them all. Like I've said, we'll talk about all the rumours going. I'm not always going to have every rumour nailed or be able to give you every single bit of information until I've had it corroborated. But we will endeavour to be the first to provide you with the latest breaking news on Sheffield United. Josh Morley starts us off tonight. Good evening, pal. What first game do you think we'll play next season, Jimmy? That is absolute potluck, Josh. I've seen that the date that the fixtures comes out, though. I can't remember when it is now. But it's fairly... Is it 20th of June? Yeah, I think it's the 20th of June or 26th of... It's before the 30th of June, because I found it odd that it's great for us in terms of planning and what we're going to be doing. I can't answer your question, Josh, because it could be anybody. It's literally, 1 in 46, what it could be, 1 in 23 teams. But in terms of the fixtures coming out when they do, we'll still have players under contract to us that aren't going to be involved in the fixtures that come out when they're released. It seems a little bit bizarre, really. And that may have happened in previous seasons, but I don't recall it happening. I'm sure they usually get released like July time usually, or even later. So, David Vinter, good evening, pal. looking forward to Saturday. Maybe the last time we visit Goodison. Yeah, it might be. Let's embrace next time. Let's embrace next. I think we'll be up there challenging next season. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Keep up the good work. Thank you, pal. Much appreciated. Rob, hello, mate. Hope it's true about Milan wanting Vinny. Me too. Carry him on my back all the way there, just like Hamer has done all season. Nicely put, mate. Nicely put. Yeah, rumours that AC Milan are interested in Vinny Souza, if you can believe that. My concern with that one is I don't think there's a lot of money in the game. Certainly not the Italian game. And I think, are we going to get what we paid for him? Are they going to try a cheeky little loan to buy, which don't do us any favours, really, because we need the cash. So watch this space. It's early days with that one yet, isn't it? Normal People Fitness Club. This is Stevie Boy. Good evening, mate. One of our Platinum Ramblers. Last game was a cracker. Arch with 2. The second was a pick for own goal. Yeah, it was 2 for Archer. Surely you've got to give Archer that one. The one where he hits the post and it bounces off. Was it back a pick for his head or his back or something like that? Great game. Thought we had a star. Ollie Mack misses point blank header. Yep. Oh, God, wish we were still that team and not the shell that we've become. A damning assessment, but you have to say, pretty bang on. What's the latest on George Jimmy? Is he going, pal? I think he's going, mate. I haven't had confirmation of it, but I'd be amazed now. It looks like Panathinaikos, 3-year deal, and I think I've already said it on Ramble, but selfishly, I'm absolutely gutted because personally, I love him. I know a lot of the fans love him. We talk about leaders that we miss at the club and we need more leaders. We're losing a real solid leader in George Baldock out of our changing room. It's sad to see him go. What you have to also try and step back and say is he's probably right in terms of the injuries that he's started to accumulate. We're not going to offer him a 3-year deal on the sort of money he'll be offered. Well, money might be comparative, to be fair, but he's going to play in Greece, sunny all year round. He's going to play in Europe with the team that he's joining. We can't offer him that. We weren't going to offer him 3 years, even if we could match the wage. So, yeah, he's one of them. Good first half, says CJ. Missed loads of chances, get battered second half. Standard. Typical Blades performance. That's exactly what's going to happen. Hey up, Jamie. Hey up. Jay Clay says, next few games should be used for fringe players to impress Wilder and the players for next season. Yeah, let's use the players that are going to be involved a little bit. I'm not saying drop Brereton Diaz or drop Archer, whatever it might be, but can we not get Sam Curtis in the mix somewhere? Can we not get Will Asula some game time? These players that are going to be here or in and around the first team squad. And even if not, the future is at the Blades, hopefully, isn't it? Even if Curtis, well, more likely, say Asula or even Louis Marsh, Ryan Oney gets time on the bench. Don't just keep him there for the experience of sitting on the bench. Give them 10 minutes at end. How unbelievable is that for them to know what they can aspire to be in their career than play football in the Premier League? Let's bring some youngsters off the bench, says Dave Leary. Platinum Rambler. Like that. Give them some minutes. Nice one on Radio Sheffield, pal. Thank you, mate. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Yeah, Radio Sheffield, another great experience. And thank you to them for inviting me back on. Always a pleasure to go. But I thought I'd setting it for 9 o'clock tonight because we didn't finish. We had them in Sheffield till it were about 20 past 8. I thought there's no chance, absolutely no chance I'm getting back here in time, which will all change hopefully when we've got the studio because I can just rock up and it's all set up. But I had to have one of them phone calls to Mrs. Ramble, and fair play to her. She got all the setup almost about right. So credit to Mrs. Ramble for setting us up tonight. And just as I ran in to press play, we're all ready to go. Jamie says, I'm going to Everton on Saturday morning. 8:30 set off. Can't wait. Good lad. Good lad. And the one thing that we can be truly proud of this season is, well, I'm going to concentrate on the away support because I think that's absolutely phenomenal. So the away support gets top marks. But I think the fans in general, and I know there's a vocal minority who are also very entitled to their opinion, by the way, about how upset they are about the club. And I invite comments on that as well. But the fan base has largely stuck with the club. We might not like some of the decisions that have been made. We might not like what's happened on the pitch. I think some of us try our best to understand it, even if we disagree with it. I think we've been very patient with the club and very loyal to the club. And I hope they don't take that for granted. I don't think they do. I think it's a positive that they set up the fan advisory board and other things that they've got in play and in the pipeline, if you like. But I think support like that, Jamie, when we're down and, not playing for anything, essentially, fair play to you, mate. Fair play to you and everybody else going. And I'll be there against Tottenham in the last game of the season. And we'll clap the players, won't we? Even though it's been a horrendous season on the pitch. Stevie Boy says, give experience to the younger kids, but coach them before and after mentally for it. Before and after mentally for it. And make sure they're taken care of and set up to take reality. This is where the coaches earn their money. Great point, mate. It's so much more than just getting to play on a pitch. It's how, what if the first touch don't go right? Or what if they're anxious about how their first touch is going to be? They've got to be in the right mindset going onto the field, and they've got to be in the right mindset coming off if it doesn't go as well as they hope it did. Or even if it's been an unbelievable, say Louis Marsh comes on and gets a goal in the last minute to make it 5-1 to Everton. And it's a great experience for him, but we need to keep him grounded, don't we? And keep him focused. And like you say, there's so much more goes into it in terms of bringing on young players than just giving them the minutes. So fair point. Well made, mate. Play Ryan Oney for me, Jimmy. And Curtis, says John. Ryan Oney, getting some shouts. He's been in great form for the under-21s. But as we've seen with Willa Sula, it's one thing being on fire for under-21s. It doesn't always translate to the first team. Illiman and Dye did it, but I think a lot of degree he's a special talent. So big jump. And do we need to test him in some middle ground between the levels, if you like, whether that's League One next season, lower end Championship, League Two for some of them maybe? I don't know. Evening, Jimmy. Evening, Andrew, pal. Yeah, give the young ones a go. They can't do much worse. Does it matter? I think we'll lose, but I'd love the young ones to have a good game. Me too. Look what it's done for Ollie Arblaster. And even Andre Brooks, who I think has faded a little bit recently, but still a fantastic experience. And you've got to think he'll be a better player for it next season. It makes sense for George to go, says Paul, as it gives him the chance of European Cup football before his legs completely go. Completely right. And what have we said on this channel before? I think it was Prince Abdullah himself that said the best ability is availability. And if we pay George Baldock 30 grand a week, for example, and he's only available for half at games, we might as well have paid him 60 grand a week, haven't we, for the amount of game time we're getting for him. You're paying him double what his availability is. I give Tinsdale a go in the second half at Everton. Great shout. He's one that goes under the radar a little bit, is Tinsdale, and he's done really well in that left wing back role. Why not? Ben Osborne, to me, is not a natural left wing back, but Tinsdale is. And he's sort of come up on the rails, hasn't he? Like I say, under the radar a little bit. Good shout. Evening, Jimmy. Good evening, Ian, mate. Nice of you to fit us in now. You're a BBC regular. None of that. Going for a final hurrah. Blades to win 2-1. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Thank you, mate. Thank you. Yeah, agree, Jimmy. Can't see Chris making too many changes. I will put a Sula in, though, instead of Archer. Hope he can get his first Prem goal. Up the Blades, up the... That'd be great, wouldn't it? That would be great. I won't be against that, Ray, at all. Ray, one of our Ramblers. Thank you again for your support, mate. Any updates on Peck, injury or other? No updates on Peck at the minute, I'm afraid. As soon as I hear anything, if I'm able to, I will share. Evening, Jimmy. On the Curtis selection, he played in that position for the under-21s in the week. Yeah, I saw that, Bri. So it could be a hint that he starts there. Up the Blades. Ramble, like and subscribe. Thank you, mate. Brian, another Platinum Rambler. Top man. I've seen it somewhere that Villa want to do a deal for us to keep Archer and Arblaster to Villa. Have you heard anything? No, that's speculative, Andrew, to be honest. I've seen it where people have pitched that. I think I even spoke about it on the last Ramble as if this happened, if they offered us 25 mil or 15 mil plus Archer plus 20% and a loan back of Arblaster, would you take it? People will speculate because Villa are just one of the clubs that are interested in Arblaster. and obviously we've got Archer going back to Villa. People are trying to put 2 and 2 together, and I understand it, and there might be some creativity that we can do somewhere down the line, but keeping Arblaster is absolutely key for us next season, in my opinion. I can see us starting next season with no players from the 1920 squad. A true clear-out. I can't see Chris offering Norwood a contract. I can't. And Egan won't want to be the last man standing. I think Egan will stay. I'd be surprised if he didn't. That's not an exclusive by any means. It's just a gut feeling that I think we'll keep Egan. Tinsdale really high on him, says Boxcar. I would love to see him get a minute or two. Me too. I'd go with that team, but Asula for Archer, then give minutes to Brewster, says Rob. Yeah, I can do that. I'm up for that. I think that's fair shout. So he's going to be here next season, and he and Archer in. So, any updates with Jebo and his contract situation? No. I have been consistent on this, and I think, excuse me, a bit of a curveball was thrown at us midweek when he played for the under-21s. He played 45 minutes for the under-21s, which made me think, well, maybe he's going to sign then. But I still don't think he wants to be here. I think he's leading us a bit of a merry dance, if I'm honest. And that's just my opinion. I hope I'm wrong, because tying down a youngster with potential is only going to be good for the club. But I still think he leaves, personally. But as I said, I'd be glad to be wrong. Jack says, might be late to this, but apparently are we selling Hamer? Did they not learn anything from this season? We're not selling Hamer, mate. We're not actively selling Hamer. We're not entertaining bids for Hamer, but Hamer has a release clause. So if a club meets his release clause, he'll be able to speak to them, and we'll have to sell if he agrees to go to them. Pigs at home on Boxing Day. No, thank you. I don't want to. Can we abstain from playing them? It's just absolutely atrocious. Final 2 games can give us some pride and momentum into next season, says Jay Clear, and allows certain players to impress us and Wilder to try and nail a place for next season. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Jack says, evening, Jimmy. If you had to name them now, who are your 3 relegated championship next season? I'm going Wednesday, Swans and Portsmouth. Oh, second unrelated question. What lens do you use on your setup? It's a standard lens on the Sony ZV-E10 or something. I don't know. To be honest, it's embarrassing that I don't know, but I've never claimed to be a pro, but I will get you the details, pal, and I'll let you know. I'm just more stumped on your first question. Who goes down next season from the championship? Well, I can't give you a legitimate answer, but in terms of clubs who I think will struggle, because obviously we've not seen any business, clubs who we think might not go for it. I wouldn't have picked Birmingham last season, for example, and they've gone. But let's see who's coming up. Oxford or Bolton. I think Oxford might struggle more than Bolton if they come up. I'd love to think that Wendy's struggle, but I think that they only struggle if they lose the manager, which is a possibility. Swansea, I think, is a good shout. So I don't think you're going to be far off, actually. Plymouth, if they can't get a decent appointment in, to get somebody like Liam Rossini, it gives them half a shout. I don't think Portsmouth will be in trouble. Again, that's largely down to the manager, because I'm a really big fan of the Portsmouth gaffer. Well done, Wendy's winning the league when bus parade, says Chris. I think Ipswich will go for Diaz and maybe an L. They're welcome to an L. I don't think they will, to be honest. They could go for Diaz. They could go for Archer. They're in a similar position to us, but we'll probably a little bit more money to spend. They need to strengthen, don't they, if they're going to have a chance of staying up. Thoughts on Darren Smith seemingly saying this war chest spoke about ain't what we think it is. Looking like Premier League level loans for starting 11, but money is there as a fallback. What war chest did we think it was, Scott? I don't think we've ever been under the impression that we're going to have loads of money to spend. I think what people are assuming, me included, is we will sell Anel, we'll sell Sousa, and then we'll potentially use some of that money as part of the rebuild. We were always going to use the loan market, the Premier League loans, because that's what we've done previously. Morgan Gibbs-White and Dean Henderson, obviously more recently Tommy Doyle, James McAtee. So I don't think it's too different to what we'd have expected, but if you were expecting something else, mate, then let me know. Happy to talk about it. Oh, we're 5 minutes away, and I didn't think we were going to have all these comments, but thank you to everybody. Let's hope Milan wants Sousa. I'd carry him there. He can use my walker, says David. Up the Ramble, up the Blades. Like and subscribe. Any chance we'll look at Burrows? I don't think so. I don't think so, unfortunately. I hope that changes because it depends on his price, for one. It's not usually a position you spend a lot of money on left wing back, but he looks some prospect, doesn't he? So I would like us to consider that. It's a problem position for us. Is Baldock going for free? Yes, he is, Paul. He's out of contract. Billy says, if it helps, AC Milan spent 50 million net last summer, so there might be some cash available for Vinny, but a loan to buy does seem more likely. If we can get another club interested, we'll be laughing. Absolutely right. Cheers, Bill. I didn't know that about their net spend. That's good to know that they might have a little bit. Mr. V, I think if we managed to win that game at Spurs away, things might have ended differently this season. Let's see Marsh, One and some younger blades get a good 15 to 20 minutes at Everton. Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. Seeing Jebo's Everton goal doing the rounds on Twitter today, really hope he signs, says Bill. I think he looks so much more natural in front of goal than Asula. So I think Asula looks good in front of goal until he's in first team. It's his composure. I think it's up here with Asula. I don't think it's an ability thing. I think it's a mental thing. Will most of the deals done in the summer be done early doors or late, as it has been done recently? I think Darren Smith again alluded to the fact that it's probably going to be, unfortunately, later, because you'll get better deals as clubs start to formulate their own squads. Then that frees up their sort of surplus players and who they can afford to let out or sell. And we are usually in the second or third wave of that, aren't we? So we won't want to spend big up front on players. But I think we have to move early. I think there's also the consideration that if we're going to sell Vinny and Anel, then we won't make many incomings until they've gone, until we know we have to replace them. And we certainly won't be spending a lot of money. I think we've got to take a risk. Otherwise, we're going to be slow out of the blocks. I think we've got to go early and try and get some players in. Don't know why, but I've got a feeling Sousa will stay and have a really good season next year, says Cole. I don't believe he should stay with his current attitude, but if he turns that around, he's a decent player up the Blades. I think there's a player in there somewhere. We've just not seen it, have we? It's like once at Luton. PG Decorators. Hi, Jimmy. Do you think it would be a good idea to play Vinny Sousa? Hoping he has a good game to attract more buyers up the Blades, up the Ramble? No. Chirac, no chance. No chance am I reading that. Action location, where things are going, Jimmy. What appears to be are in action. Both Michael Cooper and Victor Johansson will be missed. Not sure. We'll see. I think there's legs to the Victor Johansson deal. I'm expecting loads of clubs to be in for him at that price at 900k. Michael Cooper at 8 million. I'm not expecting loads to be in. Rumoured to be Celtic, isn't it? Curtis and One featured in the PDL games and looked sharp. I can't see Chris using them at Everton because he still thinks we can nick a point. But the last game, maybe. Just bite the bullet now for me. Megamind's turned up. Evening, Jimmy. Good evening, pal. Looking forward to these two games. I'm with you, bloodsome youngsters, but also need to say farewell to the old guard. Norwood, Basham, Baldock won't be a dry eye against Tottenham. Up the Blades, up the rock. Yeah, I hope there's something done for those players that are leaving. There's been some unbelievable servants that'll be going, won't they? Play garbage at centre half. He won't have to use his hands so we're onto a winner. Yeah, that's true. Would you take a lone goalkeeper, Jim? Everyone, including me, is clamouring for Vic. But I do think if a Prem goalkeeper comes up on loan, it might be better. I have to keep one eye on promotion within 2 years by any means. Absolutely right, Bill. But I think goalkeeper is such a vital position. So if another Dean Henderson were to come up, then you've got to prioritise him as a loan option because we're not going to afford him. So Palace being the obvious option because they've got Johnston and Henderson. So if one of those is unhappy, but they're only happy to let him out on loan, and we've got a chance of getting him, I think that's better than anybody we can sign on a permanent, whether it's Henderson or Johnston. Not likely, in my opinion. Victor Johansson going for 900 grand sort of shoots him to the front of the line for me, and that's a goalkeeper you can rely on for 4 or 5 years at least, in my opinion. Talking to a Preston fan today in Fleetwood, by chance got chatting and he said, stick with Wilder, you search for top 2 next season, so we aren't on our own to think we'll be challenging. I'm very much of that opinion that Chris Wilder will be the man to get us back. Hi, mate. Love Tinsdale. Watched him all season, says Craig. Miss Gilly. Good evening, pal. Hope you're well. Hope our main summer business isn't going to be loans as it puts us in the same position in 12 months. there's an inevitability, particularly when finances are tight, and I don't just mean at Sheffield United, you'll see all clubs doing it, of loan players. But I'd rather have that option to bring them in and make them better than sign players a rung down just to be permanent for us. You've got to have a blend for me. Completely agree. We're playing Tinsdale at left wing back, and I'd throw One in as well. The lad looks an incredible talent, strong, quick, and can finish. Matthew Mountain. Any relation to the man, the myth, the legend? I don't mind loans personally. Most important thing is getting that Prem money back within 2 years before parachutes run out. Absolutely right. If we do that by leaning on loans, so be it. Yeah. Vital to the infrastructure plan as well, isn't it? We're over time now, but we'll carry on. Play football with a Wednesday fan today. It was singing Mind the Gap the whole time. Doesn't matter though, because we won 4-1 and he scored no goal. Fair play. Every cloud. Have to maintain our wage bill at the top end of the champ and keep our yo-yo position to make us attractive for buyers. As soon as we drop off into mid-table obscurity, our buyout chances reduce even further. Stoke, Exhibit A, yeah, West Brom, them sort of clubs who've been in the Prem and it, drifting to obscurity a little bit. Norwich, another one. I know they're sort of challenging, but they're not really the dominant force they were when they first came down. If Egan stays, do you think he'll be main central centre-half, or will take a back seat and be more of a rotational player in the back line? I think he'll resume his position in the middle of the three. Understated. Listen, he was in poor form when he got injured this year, sorry. But he's an organiser, and he will sort the back line out and make us a bit more structured and organised, and I think he's been well missed. A youth centre-back, Sauskas, rate him. Yeah, that youth centre-back, I can't even say his name properly. I don't think that's how you spell it, and I can't say it either, Craig. So between us, we've made a right ash of that, I think. But is it Sasnaukas or something? Oh, I'd not heard of until the other week. Watched him since. Looked a real prospect. He's come from under 18s and now plays regular for 21s. Captained him, I think, other week. Yeah, centre-half, being fast-tracked, if you like. When we're going back to the Prem? When we're going back? I don't know, mate. Ask me after the summer. Apparently, Leeds are looking at Hamer. I'm sure they are. But they'd have to be promoted to splash the cash, I think. Can't wait to get back to the Championship and hopefully back to that fighting mentality, says Will. Absolutely right, Valley Blade. Absolutely right. Watching League One this season, that Brannigan looks a mature centre midfielder. Bang on call. Who was really taking a position as leader at Oxford, only 27, a leader in our bunch of young lads in midfield, could be vital. He'd be a brilliant signing, Cam Brannigan. Brilliant. Fits exactly what we want to do. Bigger issue than who comes through the door next season is getting the attitude right after a season that's knocked everybody's confidence. Yeah, I think that's one of the bonuses to having such a large scale clear out, to be honest. A lot of them won't be here next year, and a lot of the big earners won't be here next year, in my opinion. I think everyone is in agreement that Susanna needs to go, but tell me who actually takes him, because he's been stuck with him, if I'm honest. I think he goes abroad. AC Milan have already been touted being interested in him. That surely plucks up some ears somewhere across the continent and see if we can get some interest in him. I think he'll go, to be honest. I don't know how. Hope McBurney goes and Brewster, let's be fair, how much have they done since they came in? Both have spent more time being injured. Up the Ramble, up the Blades. I feel more for Brewster, to be honest. McBurney's definitely had a fair crack of the whip, but Brewster's just never been able to get a run of games, has he? And I think there's a striker in there as well. Paul says it's been a terrible season, but the saddest thing for me was Bash's injury. Absolutely right, which robs us all of the chance to give him a proper send-off. A bit like Fleck. Yeah, very sad. Very sad. Just watched Illiman for Marseille. What have they done to him? I know. I'm hearing the same, Kyle. I'm hearing the same, mate. I hope it's not true. Mind, get his stock down. Hopefully, if we're promoted and the stars align, you never know. Vinny and Anel together will go for 30 to 35. Oh, I don't think they will. I'd love it, but I don't think they will. I think we'll probably get 25 combined if we're lucky. Probably closer to 20. If they go early, I have to get some decent players through the door before the first game of the season, because if not, we'll be in a spot of bother. We certainly will. He's also a big fan of Archer. He would love him back at Preston, but no chance of that. Told him the deal is going back to Villa. Said should keep him if we could. No chance. That's right. We haven't got any chance of keeping Cam Archer. First post from Chirac that didn't involve him laughing his head off at his own comedic genius. Yeah, we're not reading Chirac's jokes, FX. It's just, it's not a funny man. What do you know about Tyrese Campbell, Jimmy? His name's been mentioned. I know this is Kevin Campbell's son that's just left Stoke, for those that aren't aware of the name. Promising young striker, has stalled a little bit the last couple of years, if I'm honest. But got a bit about him. Don't think he's going to do the business top end of the Championship, if I'm honest. But, you know. Now Middlesbrough's not keeping O'Brien. Will we make a move for him? Is that being official then, Mr. V? Because I know we like Lewis O'Brien. And I very much like Lewis O'Brien. I think there's a chance we might, if he's available. Sound happy about it, Chirac? Closet Wendy. Right. Okay. Are we getting down to the end? Are we likely to get Mark Leonard through the door, or is it just paper talk? We like Mark Leonard. I can probably speak a little bit more on that in the next few days. And that don't mean he's signing by any means, but we'll see which direction that goes, and then I'll be able to give a bit more information on that one. But I think that's a smart signing, Mark Leonard, if he comes. He's Northampton's Player of the Year, on loan from Brighton, centre midfielder, very neat and tidy, and available for about 300 grand. Blaster got Player of the Month again. Absolutely right. Chucking Blade says, AC Milan, if they do, they're mad. That's 100% a player. And there's 100% a player in there, but he seems a bad egg, unfortunately. It does seem, quite negative, doesn't it? But I think he's one of those players that not only certain teams will suit his style, but certain leagues, Premier League is not it. But in a slower league like La Liga, potentially, I'd say he maybe ends up in the French league or something like that, where the standard's lower. I think he might be okay. I think we do a good season next season after putting up with this for a full season. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Let's hope so. Maintaining Prem status and having an owner with deep pockets makes such a difference, says Paul. Went up with Villa in 19. They've now Champions League football and a team worth 550 million, lucky buggers. And they got relegated, or should have been relegated through that Hawkeye system that failed. Lads, let's stop arguing. I know how to witness a win on Saturday, Jimmy. Stop watching on 75 minutes. That's right. FX finishes off by saying, thanks for tonight, Jimmy. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. Thank you, mate. Very much appreciated. Billy agrees with Action Location about stopping watching on 75 minutes because we'll just concede, won't we? And John, more comments coming in. John, what do you think? Sander getting Player and Players Player of the Year award? Up his value. Hopefully we've got a sell on because he won't stay at Burnley. I know it's a long shot, but watch Rotherham a bit this year, and that Revan looks good for them. On loan from Prem, but a young talent who's going under the radar, only hearing praise from Millers fans. Revan? Never heard of him, pal. I'll have to have a little look. But thank you to everybody for their contributions tonight. And always, obviously, we're not at the Triple Point this weekend with it being an away game. This time next season for these sort of things, we'll be doing watch-alongs. But best of luck to the Blades. What do we think score's going to be? Everton have not to play for. Neither have Sheffield United. What about a spirited 1-1 draw? Let's go for that. Whether I think it's going to happen or not, that's what I'm saying. So let me know your score predictions down below. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards. Ramble on!